The last person in the world that I'd want to hurt is you.
If you keep
Cal,
talking, I'm gonna get out of the car.
I think the fact that I did it just shows how broken we are. How much we really need Cal! Oh my God, Cal!
Did you know, in the United States, the probability for a marriage lasting for 20 years decreased to about 50-50? Well, before anyone blames the Western decadence for the breakdown of the family, it should be pointed out that the Maldives occupies the #1 spot in the divorce league tables. Too much for a famous honeymoon spot, right? Well, it is followed by Belarus, and United States, in fact, is the third. Wait. Are you wondering why we started off our video with divorce stats? Or are you still under the hangover of the love themes we've been posting about? Well, enough with the love. Today we will talk about what happens when this love in a marriage doesn't work out. Today we will talk about divorce, the history of divorce. To understand the full history of divorce, first the term should be defined. Divorce came from the Latin word divortium, which means separation. It is also equivalent to the word divorce or divortere. Di means apart and vortere means to turn to different directions. Divortere was also referred the meaning of divert, turn aside, separate or leave one's husband.
Fucking want a divorce!
The word was traced in French vocabulary in the later part of the 14th century and in the Middle English in the year 1350 to 1400. Today, although divorce is expressed or defined in different ways, it expresses a single idea. Most common definitions of divorce include a judicial declaration dissolving the marriage in whole or in part, releasing the husband and wife from the matrimonial obligation to live together, or any formal separation of husband and wife according to the established customs, and total separation or disunion or to disunite a marital union. In today's modern society, divorce is only recognized if legal and supported by law. The oldest codified law in the history of divorce was traced in 1760 BC during the reign of King Hammurabi of Babylon. It is believed that the king carved 282 laws in stone tablets, including the law on divorce. During that period, a man could divorce his wife by simply saying, "You're not my wife," which was followed by payment or a fine by returning the wife's dowry. However, if it was the wife who wanted divorce, she was required to file a complaint to obtain one. Divorce had begun to gain support all over the world, and the number of countries that sought for the adoption and legalization of divorce began to increase. Divorce was first applied in France in 1762, but it was made legal in 1816. Germany in 1875, Ireland in 1997, Italy in 1974, and Spain in 1981. In the US, history of divorce started in the state of Maryland. Maryland declared divorce legal in 1701, and South Carolina in 1949 to 1950, while the state of California legalized the no-fault divorce in 1970. In Pennsylvania, divorce records have been kept since 1804. Enough with the Western divorce ideas. What about divorce in India? Well, India is home to diverse religions. And all major religions have their own laws that govern divorces within their own community. And many have separate laws concerning divorce in interreligious marriages in India. The Hindu Marriage Act of 1955 governs Hindus, Buddhists, Sikhs and Jains in India. The Indian Divorce Act of 1869 governs Christians. The Parsi Marriage and Divorce Act of 1936 governs Parsis. The Dissolution of Marriage Act of 1939 governs Muslims. And the Special Marriage Act of 1956 governs interreligious marriages and divorces. Because there are numerous religions in India, each has its own set of rules that govern divorces within its own section of society, as well as its own historical background. The notion of Hindu marriage extends well beyond a simple man-woman bond. It has been called as an eternal relationship. The origin of Hindu laws can be traced back to the Vedas, which date back more than 3,000 years. According to Kautilya, a woman may abandon her husband if he is of bad character, if he has become a traitor or is likely to endanger her life, is an outcast, and lost his virginity. A dissatisfied wife is not to be granted divorce from her husband who is unwilling, nor the husband from his wife, but by mutual consent, divorce can be granted. Kautilya recognizes desertion, cruelty, impotency, and mutual consent. This reflects a picture of the society where the woman has a right of sex and happy marriage and was assured against neglecting husband. The first attempt at making written a statutory provision for divorce is in the year 1931 in the form of the Divorce Act 1931. Under this, both the husband and wife were given the right to divorce for impotency, adultery, bigamy, desertion, conversion, cruelty, intoxication, and in addition to these, if the wife is pregnant at the time of the marriage or the spouse disappeared for 7 years or more. Christians also considered their marriage as sacrament. They thought that marriages are made in heaven and no man can put them as under. For the first time, the dissolubility of marriage was recognized by the Matrimonial Cause Act 1857. Though the grounds of dissolution of marriage is only adultery, and if the wife filed for divorce, it had to be adultery plus. Once the termination of the marriage was recognized, the pace never stopped. The Governor General in Council enacted the Indian Divorce Act 1869, which applied to Christians across India. The Indian Divorce Act has not been changed significantly since 1869 till date, and therefore Christian law on divorce in India has been embedded on the basis of the Victorian era for more than a century and a quarter, until Act 51 of 2001, when Christian law of marriage and divorce was substantially revived. Divorce in Islam can take a variety of forms, some initiated by the husband and some initiated by the wife. The main traditional legal categories are talaq, khul, that is mutual divorce, judicial divorce, and oaths. The theory and practice of divorce in the Islamic world have varied according to time and place. Historically, the rules of divorce were governed by Sharia, as interpreted by traditional Islamic jurisprudence, though they differed depending on the legal schools and historical practices, sometimes diverged from legal theory. In modern times, as personal status and family laws were codified, they generally remain within the orbit of the Islamic law, but control over the norms of divorce shifted from traditional jurists to the state. While we address some of the many ways in which different religions and regions handle divorce, one common factor is the taboo around it. In the Western world, divorce may be a common occurrence. One of the most vocal opponents of this family issue is the Eastern world. Divorce is still a taboo subject in our society today. A couple may marry in a beautiful wedding and appear to be the happiest people on the planet. But what happens next? What happens if a problem arises if they do not gel well? They might either live a life of fairy tales or experience the greatest nightmare without a way out. In most non-Western cultures, marriage is a holy institution and divorce is frowned upon and considered taboo. Divorce is still frowned upon in India. As a result, dealing with divorce in India necessitates a greater level of emotional stability and endurance on both spouses' part. However, the number of divorces in India are increasing in the past 2 decades. So, what is causing these divorces? What is causing the number to rise? Well, the number is rising in urban areas of India. Whether it is the interference of family, the growing independence of women, awareness of human rights, or education, there are many factors that are contributing to this rise. In modern Indian society, a woman's role is not confined to that of a housekeeper. Women of new generation have achieved economic parity with males. As women become more economically independent and autonomous, the concept of compromise in marriage is rapidly diminishing. Modern Indian men and women do not believe in marital compromise in the same manner that our forefathers did. While the number of divorce cases in the country's cities is on the rise, the rural areas are still largely unaware of the law. Ignorance and illiteracy have also added a significant part in influencing society's thinking and ideals. People are so concerned about their family's social standing that they refuse to consider divorce. In many cases, parents attempt to mediate issues between married couple in order to avoid a premature divorce. Although mediation can help restore family peace and harmony, there are many circumstances where partners choose to stay in a marriage they despise, harming their mental health terribly. As a result, our society might be regarded as a driving force behind the persistence of failed and broken marriages. They deem it better to carry the burden rather than set oneself free. Divorce is not a major issue in and of itself. Everyone desires freedom in their lives as human beings. Some relationships are supposed to be broken, especially those that turn burdensome and toxic. But do you know which one's supposed to stay stronger? Well, an example is ours. So, what's the wait? You know the drill. Subscribe to our Volt of Vokes channel and become a part of our amazing family. Comment your views, like our videos, share them with fellow enthusiasts. And until then, stay curious, stay awesome. Volt of Vokes signing off.